In 2018, I made a call from Japan to a business in the United States and I sold them a software that I did not create. That's how I made my first internet dollar, and that's how I built a software business that lasted for 5 years and made almost six figures in revenue and is still paying the bills today, even though I abandoned it 4 years ago. Hey, I'm Mark. I am a solo entrepreneur and I build small internet businesses that are now making $50,000 a month in revenue at 90% profit with zero employee. In this video, I'm going to break down how I created my software without knowing how to code, how I grew it, and what's going on today. In 2018, I moved to Seoul, South Korea. I was there because a high school friend of mine was already there and managed to get $100,000 an investment from angel investors, and he offered me to become the co-founder. We created an AI startup and we hired 2 employees in this little office in the middle of Seoul, and we were trying to predict the price of flight tickets. We failed miserably. We couldn't deliver anything valuable, but it was a very interesting experience because I learned something about me, which is I want to be 100% free. I don't want employee, I don't want investors. I want to work on my own little project. And so after we moved on, I had zero income and no savings. So I started to do some side gigs where I would go in movies as an actor in the background. They would pay $200 a day for like 12 to 14 hours of acting. I wouldn't do much. I would just get some makeup and get paid at the end of the day. I would have 1 gig a week, which would pay just enough for me to be able to live and eat in Seoul, South Korea. I started to brainstorm on startup ID that I could work on just by myself. So I would go to this little co-working space in the basement near my house. They would provide free coffee and free snacks, which was really good at the time. Back then in 2018, Messenger and WhatsApp bots were very popular. So basically it's automated replies from a business that can chat with the customer to help them. I've been a gamer my entire life, so I thought, why not having some kind of game on Messenger or WhatsApp that could entertain potential customers, give them a discount coupon if they succeed at the game, so that the business could grow. And so I came up with this idea of a Messenger bot that would actually be an entire escape room. So you would have a lot of puzzles and riddles that you can play, and if you finish the game, you get a discount coupon. Back then it was just an idea, but now I have to show you the software so you have a better understanding of what I had in mind. So this is a customer of mine on the left side. They would sign up on my website and then they will connect their Facebook page. People will be able to play those games once the Facebook page is connected on Messenger. So the bot here is automated. It offers some riddles and puzzles that people can click. If you want to play this game, for instance, there you go. You would have the automated replies from the Messenger bots that will challenge you. You earn some points, and at the end, if you get enough points, you get a discount coupon for the escape room business. I was a terrible programmer back then, and I know it would take some time to build something like this. But luckily, in my co-working space, I met this guy on the right, Andre, which is a very successful marketer, and later became my friend. And he told me, then why don't you just why don't you just sell it before you build it? And I had nothing else much at the time. It was very reliable. So I was like, oh, why not? Let's give it a try. So I started to send cold emails to escape room businesses. I would say something like this: I can help you get more traction or get more customers. Usually my cold emails would be 3 lines. I would always add the name of the business owner at the top and try to explain a little bit how this thing works. I sent those emails and I had to go to Japan for a visa run. I had no money, so I ended up in the cheapest and the tiniest room in Osaka, Japan. But I started to get some replies from those businesses. And one of them wanted to get on the phone call with me. And I did the call. And this changed my entire life. So I was in this room, I was tired, and the call was scheduled for somewhere in the afternoon. The Wi-Fi was bad, so I had to go down in the living room. It was really hot. It was noisy. There were people. I was a terrible marketer and a terrible salesperson. But I jumped on the call, and the call lasted for 42 minutes of cringiness and awkwardness. And eventually, at the end, she said, "Yes, I'm in," and she wanted to move on and get that Messenger bot set up for her page, and she asked for the payment page. I sent her the link, and she paid, and eventually she churned just only recently in 2023 after spending almost $5,000 on this Messenger bot. So that call entirely changed my life because it was my first dollar online, and without knowing it, after this first phone call, I made $5,000. I went back to Korea more motivated than ever. I had paying customers and I had a product to build, but I was a very bad programmer. So I started to find pieces of codes on YouTube and GitHub and try to assemble some product. I would bring my computer everywhere, even when I would do some gigs, and I will build in the bus. Eventually, I ended up building a product that was working, and I also made this little website with some social proof and everything. But I had no idea how to authenticate users, like how to create a proper account. So people would click here, they would end up on a Stripe payment page. They could pay, and then they would have to fill a form that asked for their Facebook page and their email for contacting, and I would manually have to set them up instead of logging them through Facebook and do it automatically. I started to get few more customers, and because we had no reason to stay in South Korea, we moved to Bali with my current girlfriend, who later is now my wife. My days would be really chill. I would spend most of my time building. I had a very specific time schedule, so I would surf in the morning, and then I would come back and do marketing. So I would do cold emails like I did in the past because it worked, and a little bit of Facebook ads. I would also try to take care of my health by doing some stretching and reading books. And on the afternoon, I would work on the product. 90% of my customers would come from cold emails. And as a product guy, I have no idea how to send good cold emails. So I follow this guy, Alex, who writes about sending cold emails that sell. And I would take his templates, personalize them for the industry I was in, so escape room businesses, and I would add some variables like the business owner name and the business name. Then it was a matter of getting leads contact. So I would go on TripAdvisor and type escape rooms in city, and I would end up on their website. And usually on the website of the business, somewhere in here, you would find the contact. If you scroll, you would get the email of the business. A way to improve the conversion rate, it's important to add the name of the person, so the manager or the founder, to make sure that it's personalized. For that, I would go back to TripAdvisor. I would scroll through the review section, and usually a member of the team or sometimes the founder would reply to comments of customers and add their name and sometimes even their business email. I would just get that name here, and I would add all the information I collected to a sales pipeline. It's basically a 4-stage pipeline where I would put the new contacts in here, send them one cold email. If they don't reply, I'll send them another one 3 days later, and on and on and on until I send 4 emails. If some of them reply, I would try to engage with them and get them on a Zoom call. Back then in 2018, Zoom was not popular, so it was quite hard. But once they were on Zoom, I knew that 60 to 70% chance they would subscribe for my services. I would collect 10 new leads per day, and I would send also 10 emails per day. And in average, I would get 1 to 2 reply, and I would get 1 to 2 calls a week. I would charge $199 per month for these messenger bots, but I would also experience some churn. So I would get some customers, and some other customers would churn, which would at the beginning make my revenue around $1,000 to $1,500 per month. So I started to experience with yearly membership. I would sell the bot for a discount for a yearly price at $2,000. And to my surprise, some people actually paid. I would get a sales notification from Stripe that says I received a $2,000 payment, which was massive for me, especially living in Bali, where I would live with about less than $1,000 a month. The mini business started to grow a little bit. I would have 10 to 15 customers at a time across the US, the Europe, and Australia. And the business looked like this. It was about $1,000 in 2019, and I would keep growing. I started to implement annual payments here, and eventually it ended up reaching $6,000 in monthly revenue. And then COVID happened in February 2021. Because of COVID, escape room businesses had to close their locations, and I had 2 options. Either I was too greedy and I keep charging them the monthly recurring revenue until they tell me, hey, stop, or I just give them service for free until someday they will be able to reopen, which is what I did. So I emailed the entire list of customers that I had, and I told them hey, I'm not going to collect any payments until things get better. So obviously the revenue went to 0 for 4 months. As you can see here, there's absolutely nothing. I was in Bali back then, which I was pretty lucky because COVID was not really bad, and I could surf. And for some reason, I felt disconnected from the business. So I started a YouTube channel about surf just to keep me busy for a couple months, trying to decide whether I'm going to keep working on this business later or not. In August 2020, things started to reopen a bit. So escape room businesses could open their doors and make some money. A lot of them had closed because of they went bankrupt, or they just, business owners wanted to do something different. So you can see here, things started again, not as crazy as they used to be, but I didn't do any marketing, and it was still paying customers from the previous year, 2019. I would make 1.3, 1.5K per month, which is pretty good for here in Bali regarding the fact that I was not doing any marketing. Around this time with my wife, we went back to France and we got married. We eventually got stuck there and couldn't come back to Bali for about a year. Things also went a little bit wrong in my life. I got, I think, depressed and not in the right shoes. So I decided to abandon the business completely. Of course, customers would keep their service. I had nothing to do to provide the service anyway because it was like an API. I was just not doing any new marketing and onboarding new customers. And eventually, it's been 4 years since I haven't touched anything. And you can see here the revenue is slowly shrinking and it will at some point reach 0 per month, probably in 2024. And now recently, one of my biggest customer churned, bring the revenue down to $200 a month this year. This was Alex. They had 2 locations and they spent almost 13,000 US dollar on my software, which seems like crazy to me when I think I just got started with a couple of cold emails. This is not a typical Silicon Valley unicorn founder. This is just a random guy trying to make a living with its app in his bedroom. This story led me to where I am today, where I have all the freedom in the world, where I can surf, spend time with my family, spend time with my wife, and take care of my health anytime, while also making $50,000 a month. So whatever this is you have in mind, just get started, because you might be one cold email away from closing a $5,000 client.